Hey everybody, Todd Mariana, opcode 66, Deep Grooves Mastering. So there have been a number of inquiries, so I figured I'd make a quick update video. Yeah, like for real, what the fuck happened to you? Where'd you go, man? Off social media, for the most part, what's the deal? So let me try to answer some of that really quick. So what's up with fill in the blank? What's up with you? What's up with the lathe? What's up with cutter heads? What's up with whatever? Have you been working, et cetera, et cetera? Yes, I've been silent, but I have not been idle. Let me guarantee everybody of that. So, yeah. Unfortunately, family stuff, depression, both of these things were really kind of to do with me sort of deciding to take a break and reprioritize and focus. And it's paid off tremendously, like big time. There's great stuff that I want to show everybody. But of course, all in good time. But I do have a lot of things to show. Just to mention really quickly, I'm also now streaming on twitch.tv, and I'll also be posting some of them to YouTube here. So I sound like a broken record, I'm pretty sure, but keep watching. Stay tuned, please, because, man, there's a lot of stuff. But for now, here's a little tasty taste. So where do I even begin? I guess let's begin at the beginning of 2020, when I showed at NAMM. That was an interesting experience. It took a lot of work to not only prepare for the show, but also, get the prototype ready to show. So it was not exactly where I wanted it to be, but that's just the timing of the show. A lot of things, have changed because I had planned to make those changes, just couldn't do them, in time for the show. So I'm going to start to go through those changes now. The first section of the lathe that I worked on after NAMM was the overhead. I started by adding another guide rail, so there's now two, as well as the lead screw, which is placed in between the two, and there's now a half nut, so the overhead can be freely moved, just like a Neumann lathe, by disengaging the half nut. So the overhead now works very, very much like Neumann. Here you can see some of the customization that's possible. So I've got my logo engraved. And here she is in all her glory. For everybody that wants to rip off my work, here you go. But more seriously, you can see the microscope assembly that I've created. And in fact, it's more refined than what you see in this video. And also you can see what I call the sled, freely moves. There's no play, so it's tight on the guide rails. And as you can see, when the half nut is disengaged, I can put it anywhere I want. And then if I was to engage the half nut onto the lead screw, then you can actually move the overhead via that little wheel. So there are, couple of bearings, and the lead screw is mounted on those, and in the right panel there is a pulley system, which is part of the reduction, but more importantly, it's how I'm transferring the rotational power from the motor assembly into the lead screw, like you see I'm doing right now. So by turning that wheel, it turns the lead screw, and the motion is locked very tightly. So you can see as I'm turning it with my finger, the lead screw is following that motion very precisely. And that took a while to, work out everything that you see, all the individual parts and all that. But now I can get some really awesome spiraling and the same sort of functionality as Neumann. Boom. So this is mostly what the prototype is looking like right now. I've actually got some more work put into it than what you see here, but you can see I've improved the tone arm mount, the microscope assembly. Let's see here. There are improvements inside of the suspension box, but obviously you don't see those. There is an oil dash pot that works now. Additionally, I've made my own platter, so you can see that, and it does have markings on it for a strobe, and the strobe does change accordingly for the speed that you have selected for the platter. I now have some additional LEDs mounted on the front interface, which are showing the 3 phases of the BLDC motor, as well as some timing information that goes to not only the platter control, but also will be going to the pitch control for variable pitch. And let's see here. All the buttons on the front panel are working. The top row are essentially the same buttons that you find on the Neumann pitch box. You can see here that the microscope goes as deep in as you need it to and doesn't interfere with the suspension box, and you can cut a full side no problem with either a mono head or my stereo head, or even other heads. So I've made the lathe so you can mount other heads. You can not only adjust the position of the overhead itself with respect to the center pin, you can also adjust the height of the suspension box, and et cetera, et cetera. And I can provide custom mounts. Here you can see that I have made a distance ruler. That distance ruler allows you to set the industry standard diameters for lead-in and on 7-inch, 10-inch, 12-inch. The lathe has a very accurate distance sensor, and that is used in order to automate the cutting of a side. So things like lead out and lead in are automated. Here you can see I've improved my disc locking system. So my center pin, which is a rotor that I've created, I created my own bearing system for the platter. It's a mag lift bearing, but you can see the center pin is threaded, so it allows you to keep the disc locked. This is what the rack looks like. If you get a stereo head, you'll have 2 of these racks, and the rack is remotely controlled from the lathe body and can also be thereby remotely controlled from either MIDI or the Bluetooth remote control apps for iOS or Android or Mac OS or Windows. Anyway, it's all relay switched and controlled from the main computer. This particular rack has the head protection, so you see a couple extra meters for current and heat, and then there's a VU meter on the right, and then the switching for the cutter head protection is on the left. So this is what the lathe looks like when it boots up, and you can see I'm using the big old rotary encoder and the directional buttons underneath the LCD screen to actually navigate the various menus and functionality. So what you're looking at is how you would go in and either look at or modify the marker points for the different automation for either lead-in or locked groove or whatever. You can also use the menu system to set other things like the heat, temperature, or the tilt of the cutter head, or the speed of the fast, or echo, or time, or various things like that. So now we come to part 2 of this video. And this is the part where I give you the pitch, so to speak. So now I'm going to detail what has taken the longest amount of time for me to sort out and perfect, and that would be the platter motor. So right now what you're seeing is a piece of software that I created to help me to troubleshoot, debug, and measure the performance of my custom platter motor. And so this is getting information from my microcontroller, which governs speed of the platter. And as you can see, I've achieved some really impressive accuracy. So not only does it maintain speed accurately, it also will immediately and intelligently provide the means with which to counteract drag. So when you apply the cutter head to the disc, Platter system knows immediately, and it will stabilize the speed and lock it in. And it took an incredible amount of work to get there. I had to not only perfect the physical parts, but also the electronics, as well as the the drive system and the control system. So, wow, I learned a lot, and I'm willing to share it all with you guys. So here's the deal. I am trying to get my YouTube channel to monetization, not because I think I'm going to be a big star and make $1 million, but because I think that a couple extra dollars a month could help with things like tooling or whatever. So here's the deal. I have documented all of the work on the Platter motor, like severely documented, and I'm willing to create a video and share everything that I learned with you guys about making a really highly accurate, slowly moving, high torque Platter motor specifically for cutting records. But only if you guys get me to monetization. So what I need is for people to subscribe. If I can get to 1,000 subscribers and I think it's 400K hours watched or something like that, I can't remember. But whatever it is, if you guys can get me there, then I will. I'll show you everything. Deal? I mean, I think that's pretty reasonable. Essentially, I'm showing you all of the R&D that went into making, techniques or SPO2 or whatever. I mean, this is very similar to those systems. I will also show you how I did my mag lift bearing. So here's some stuff to kind of wet your whistle a bit. Let me show you first off. I made all of my own parts. So this is the rotor and the bearing system, just a tiny little sliver of it. And now let's take a look at how low we can go. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we are going at a fairly consistent 4 RPM. Wow. It is actually moving at 4 RPM. That's fucking amazing, dude. Look at that. And smoothly, too, I might add. That's very smooth. Incredible, dude. The best part is, I can now do this. And it is fighting me. And look at that, it's stabilized. Now I'm going to let go. And it's going to do the same thing. Fucking fuck to the yeah. My measured run out is 0.027 millimeters right now, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, everything is working great. And again, I'm happy to show you guys, how I got from A to B to C to Z, and things are even better than what you see in any of these videos. I'm not going to show you the most recent, but suffice it to say, things are even more fine-tuned than this. And also the reaction time for drag on the Platter is also reduced now. Feel free to scroll back and forth, with this video. If you scroll quickly, it will show you if those, lines are drifting. So go ahead and check that out. This is one of the more recent videos, so you can see, look at that. Friggin' awesome. I can do half speeds, so 16 and 2/3, or 22 and a half. Both achievable, no problem. And yeah, again, get me to monetization. I'll show you guys everything. along the way. But I hope that this sort of gives you guys an idea as to where I'm at and what I've been up to, and what to expect coming very, very soonly from me. And bear in mind that I am currently working on a couple of contracts, so I am sort of how can I say, I've got some distractions also too, holidays and everything, so probably not going to see some cutting videos until probably January or February, but suffice it to say, those are coming very soon. And I look forward to seeing what you all have to say about this. So please, subscribe. Please like if you like it. Please dislike if you don't like my work. Please comment if you like or you don't like, or ask questions. I'm happy to answer a lot of things. So until next time, I will see you guys, and take care of yourselves. Be well. Namashkar.